Good morning, students. As you know, we are discussing electrochemistry. In last class, we have come across about equivalent conductance, molar conductance, Cole-Rasch law, and its applications, and how to calculate equivalent and molar conductivity of weak electrolytes, that is, weak acids and bases. You are coming across. Now we are going to discuss about Arrhenius theory, which is based on conductivity of weak electrolytes. Arrhenius, before going to discuss about Arrhenius theory, a small tribute to the Arrhenius about him. Seventh Arrhenius, in full, 7th August Arrhenius, born in February 19, 1859 in Sweden. He died October 2nd, 1927 at Stockholm. He is a Swedish physicist, physical chemist known for his theory of electrolytic dissociation and his model of the greenhouse effect. In 1903, he was awarded Nobel Prize for chemistry. Arrhenius attended famous cathedral school in Uppsala and then entered Uppsala University, from which he received a bachelor's degree 1878 and a doctorate in 1884. He was given the honorary title of docent at Uppsala University in 1884, what awarded to travel stipend by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences in 1886. The latter allowed him to complete his education by sojourns in the laboratories of Wilhelm Ostwald at the University of Riga in Latvia, in part of Russia, and at University of Leipzig in Germany, Friedrich Kohlrausch at the University of Würzburg in Germany, Ludwig Boltzmann at the University of Graz in Australia, Jacobus Arnicus van 't Hoff at the University of Amsterdam. Now come to Arrhenius' theory of electrolytic dissociation. In 1887, Arrhenius proposed a theory to explain the properties of electrolytic solutions called as Arrhenius' theory of weak electrolytes or ionic theory. The important postulates of the theory are: an electrolyte, when dissolved in water, ionizes to give two charged particles, one carrying a positive charge, that is nothing but cation, and another one carrying a negative charge, that is anion. These charged particles are called as ions, Here you can see that AB is undergoing ionization and A plus B minus, you are getting it. This process is known as ionization. Solid electrolytes are composed of ions which are held together by electrostatic forces of attraction. When an electrolyte is dissolved in a solvent, the electrostatic forces weaken and electrolyte undergoes dissociation into ions. Alpha is the degree of dissociation is equal to number of molecules associated into ion, total number of molecules. The formation of ions when an electrolyte is put in a solvent is called ionization. The fraction of the total number of molecules present in solution as ions is known as degree of dissociation or degree of ionization. It is expressed by the above equation alpha. Degree of dissociation alpha is equal to number of dissociated molecules, total number of molecules of electrolyte before dissociation at moderate concentration. There always a dynamic equilibrium between the unionized molecules and ions formed in the solution. You can see AB reversible, A gives rise A plus and B minus. So when you write a constant, equilibrium constant, K is equal to concentration of A plus ion, concentration of B plus ion by concentration of AB is equal to K, where K is known as ionization constant. The electrolyte having a high value of are termed as strong electrolytes, and those having low value of K termed as weak electrolytes. The properties of electrolytes in solution are the properties ions present in the solution. For example, acidic solution always contains H plus ions, while basic solution contains OH minus ions. And characteristic properties of solutions are those of hydrogen ions and hydroxyl ions respectively. Ostwald's dilution law, which is based on Arrhenius theory, is not applicable to strong electrolytes. Strong electrolytes conduct electricity in fused state, that is in absence of water. This is in contradiction of Arrhenius theory, according to which the presence of solvent is a must for ionization. Arrhenius theory assumes independent existence of ions but fails to account for the factors which influence the mobility of the ions. Arrhenius theory assumes the independent existence of ions in solution but does not consider that mobility of ions changes by electrostatic forces between oppositely charged ions in solutions. Though there is a good agreement between the degree of dissociation values obtained from the conductance measurements and from colligative properties for univalent electrolytes, there are large number of discrepancies for the bivalent electrolytes like magnesium sulfate, etc. The heat of neutralization of HCl and sodium hydroxide was found to be independent of concentration, but degree of dissociation was found to decrease with increase in concentration. Hence, heat of neutralization should also decrease with increase in concentration. The theory could not explain the variation of transport number with concentration. The value of equilibrium constant of strong electrolytes was found to vary with concentration of the electrolytes. Ostwald dilution law is a relation between the dissociation constant K and the degree of dissociation alpha of weak electrolytes. Consider a binary electrolyte AB which dissociates reversibly into A plus ions and B minus ions. Ostwald noted that the law of mass action can be applied to such systems as dissociating electrolytes. The equilibrium state is represented by the equation. If alpha is the fraction of dissociated electrolytes, then C alpha is the concentration of each ionic species. 1 minus alpha must undissociated one. The fraction of undissociated electrolyte is 1 minus alpha into concentration. Concentration of same, the dissociation constant may be given as a binary electrolyte. You can see that is AB, which dissociates into A plus and B minus ions. A plus B minus reversible for weak electrolytes alpha, since it is far less than the 1, so you can see 1 minus alpha can be taken as a alpha. then K is equal to C alpha square. C alpha square, then alpha is equal to under root KAC. It can be written the concentration of any ion is equal to C alpha. C into alpha is that under root KAC is giving that under root K by V. C's concentration is measured in moles per liter, so 1 C is equal to 1 by V can be written. Alpha degree of dissociation. Ostwald's dilution law states that only at infinite dilution the weak electrolytes undergoes complete ionization. For every weak electrolyte, however, neglecting alpha, for most weak electrolytes encounter result, productive results, implying that 1 minus alpha is equal to 1. Thus, the degree of dissociation of a weak electrolyte is inversely proportional to the square root of the concentration or the square root of the dilution. The concentration of any one ionic species is given by the root of the product of the dissociation constant and the concentration of the electrolyte. Ostwald dilution law provides a satisfactory description of the concentration depends upon the conductance of weak electrolytes like acetic acid and ammonium hydroxide. The variation of molar conductance is essentially due to incomplete dissociation of weak electrolyte into ions. For strong electrolytes, however, Lewis and Randall recognized that the law fails badly since the supposed equilibrium constant is actually far from constant. This is because the strong electrolytes into ions dissociated of is essentially complete below a concentration threshold value. The decrease in molar conductivity as a function of concentration is actually due to attraction between ions of opposite charge as expressed in the Debye-Pacal-Onsager equation and later revisions. You can see the graph molar conductivity of different electrolytes. Strong electrolytes, if you look at zero concentration only, their conductivity is very high. You can see the dilution is increasing. There is no much increase in the conductivity. The curve is passing almost parallel to the x-axis. which mean to say that on dilution of strong electrolytes, there is no change in their molar conductivity because the electrolyte itself completely ionized at beginning. So increase in the volume, no more ions are increasing. Now come to intermediate electrolyte. If you look at that, it is somewhat parabola, and slowly as the dilution is increasing, what happening? Concentration goes on decreasing. What I mean to say that conductivity increase. In case of weak electrolytes, their concentration as they increasing, conductivity decreasing. You can look at that at zero concentration. This shows the almost equal conductivity. As the concentration is increasing, the conductivity goes on decreasing. At a certain concentration, their conductivity will be zero or it is coinciding with x-axis. So what which mean to say that weak electrolytes, their conductivity depends upon the concentration. As the concentration increases, conductivity decreases. As the concentration decreases, conductivity increases. But in case of strong electrolytes, concentration either increasing or decreasing, there you are not finding much difference in the conductivity. But you can see that appreciable and accountable difference change in case of intermediate electrolytes. There, as the concentration is increasing, the curve is increasing, so electrolytic conductivity slowly decreasing. So this is about the different types of electrolytes, strong, weak, and intermediate electrolytes. When you study conductivity versus concentration graphically, even for a weak electrolyte, the equation is not exact. The chemical thermodynamics shows that the true equilibrium constant is a ratio of thermodynamic activities, and that each concentration must be multiplied by an activity coefficient. This correction is important for the ionic solutions due to strong forces between ionic charges. An estimate of their values is given by Debye-Hückel theory at low concentrations. Now, Debye-Hückel equation. In order to explain the limitations of Arrhenius theory, Debye and Hückel in 1923 proposed a theory, and it was later developed by Hans Hager on the basis of inter-ionic concept. The Debye-Hückel theory explains the Osterwald's dilution law in case of strong electrolytes satisfactorily, both qualitatively and quantitatively, which has the following assumptions. In order to explain the limitations of Arrhenius theory, Debye and Hückel in 1923 proposed theory. All strong electrolytes are completely ionized in all dilutions, that is, the degree of ionization is 100%. The ratio of degree of ionization of strong electrolytes does not indicate degree of ionization, but it is only a conductivity ratio. The ionization increase in the conductivity of strong electrolytic solution on dilution is due to increase in mobility of ions. The two ions present in a solution obey Coulomb's law or rules where Q1 and Q2 are the charge on the ion and R is the distance between them. The force of attraction or repulsion is directly proportional to product of the charges and inversely proportional to square distance of the ions. Each ion is surrounded by an ionic atmosphere of oppositely charged ions. The solvent molecules are attached to the ionic atmosphere, thus positive ion is surrounded by a negative ion, vice versa. You can see here sodium ions are surrounded by water molecules, sodium ion and negatively charged oxygen which are attracting towards that. In the same way, when you are subjecting to hydrolysis of sodium chloride, chloride ions also surrounded by water molecules, but there is a attraction between the H plus ions and Cl minus, here Na plus and O minus. Debye and Ackel considered the interionic attraction and calculated the ratio of activity to the concentration of an ion in dilute solutions. Based on above assumptions, an equation was derived. You can see that in the equation terms, F is the activity coefficient, Z valency of given ion, D dielectric constant of the medium, T is equal to temperature, chemical potential of given ion. Okay, you can see the equation here, and most simplest form can be written that log Fi is equal to minus a z square under root mu. So this is the Debye limiting law for strong electrolytes. The law expresses the variation of activity coefficient of an ion with ionic strength of the medium. This is called as a limiting law. It is valued only if infinite dilution is approached. Also, the activity coefficient of an ion should decreases as the ionic strength of the solution increases as seen in the above equation. For binary electrolytes, considering mean activity coefficient. The limiting law can be written log f is equal to a z plus 1 z minus 1 under root mu. The equation applicable to ideal solutions. What are ideal solutions? The departure from the ideal behavior in given a solvent is equal to ionic strength of the medium and the valencies of ions is independent upon their chemical nature. So this is about Debye-Hackel's equation, and Debye-Hackel they have tried that overcome the drawbacks of Ostwald and Arrhenius theory, and this Debye-Hackel's equation again slightly modified by Onsager. So that we are going to discuss in next class.